Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Macy, how are you?
Hi, thanks, fine. How are you today?
I'm doing very good. And I'm sorry, is it Macy or is it McCall?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I see everything. Everything's working fine.
Okay, great, good, good.
Wow, I'm a little bit stressed because I have to say that you're one of my favorite guitarists and leader of one of my favorite bands. So I'm a little bit stressed right now, even though it's via Skype. And
Well,
wow.
McCall, well, thank you, man. I greatly appreciate it and I'm honored.
And I'm honored too because I think 3 months ago or so I didn't even think about talking with you. I don't believe it's happening.
Well, here we are.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the questions. I have several here. First of all, huge thanks for letting me do this interview. It's a big pleasure for me to, as a fan and as a heavy metal fan, to talk with you. And firstly, I would like to go long way back before Impellitteri started. Previously, you and Rock were in a band Vice in the mid-80s. And later you formed Impellitteri. How did you meet with Rob? And are there any recordings from those Vice times apart from free-track demo and short clip published on YouTube in your archives?
Well, we met, I think it was in 1985 or 1986. We were kids and we were both playing in clubs. You know, we were in cover bands where we would do like music by like Ozzy, Van Halen, Deep Purple. And we would play every week or every day in the clubs, and you know our paths crossed and we became friends, and eventually we decided to try working together, and it was quite magical. And so that's kind of how it began. And then we formed a band called Vice. We only did a 4-song demo, which we did at a studio called Electric Ladyland in New York City. It was actually owned by Jimi Hendrix, very famous studio. So that was the very first studio we ever recorded at. And that was the only thing we ever did, was that 4-song demo. I've seen some like concert footage out there. I haven't seen it in years, but I know it exists, you know, of Rob and I playing like covers of different bands. It was quite fun. So
I think Tom Sawyer is uploaded on YouTube, and it's the only clip from Vice from those times.
Oh, is that right? Okay. I remember that.
Yeah. And I only got 3 songs of this the demo. They are widely known. Was it 4? Were 4 songs?
You may be right. Maybe it was only 3 songs. It was many years ago, and I don't have a copy of it. So it may have been 3 songs.
Okay. Later, when you performed in Impellitteri, you made an EP with Rock, and later in 1988, Rob left Impellitteri. You got quite big names into the band. For example, my beloved Graham Bonnet, which is one of my favorite vocalists of all time. And you recorded your, I think, most popular album to this day, Stand in Line. What happened to that lineup? Why was it disbanded despite the album was a success? And do you still like playing songs from this album, apart from title track Stand in Line?
Okay, good question. Well, first of all, the Impellitteri Black EP was really the first Impellitteri record. That's a record that I did with Rob Rock, Lonnie Silva, and Ted Days. It had songs like Lost in the Rain and Burning and Playing with Fire and I'll Be Searching. And that record really cemented the sound of Impellitteri. However, we started touring, playing live dates, and it was doing really well. It was selling a lot of records. Big rock magazines like Kerrang! Magazine, you know, were giving us like perfect reviews, and everybody loved the band, and we were getting really big, especially in Los Angeles, California. However, Rob Rock decided he wanted to pursue a different direction in music, so he left the band. And it was very challenging because we had just signed a record deal with Sony and Relativity Records. And so I had to find a singer quickly, and Graham and I were friends from the past. So you know, I called him and I said, "Hey, Graham, what are you doing?" His band Alcatraz had disbanded. So basically I said, Yeah, so I said, look, do you want to do a record with me? And he was absolutely, yes, let's do this. So,
Wow.
we basically started writing music together. And the first song, or one of the first big songs we did, was actually the song Stand in Line. And, we eventually recorded the record. It was a very difficult record to make, right? Because I was more of a heavy metal kid, and Graham was more of a blues-based guy from, Limbo. So it was a little.
I've listened to early Graham Bonnet stuff, and it's really bluesy. So it's the totally opposite side of the music.
Yeah, especially of the Impellitteri Black EP. So
Yeah.
it was very difficult because I had to change my style and write for Graham's voice. And Graham, I love. He's an amazing, talented singer. He's very unique. As a matter of fact, I mean, there's not many singers that can brag that say, hey, they replaced Ronnie James Dio in a band.
Yeah, that's true.
That's Graham. I mean, and so, anyway, so we did Stand in Line, and the record was really a big success. Now, I struggled with it. I do love the song Stand in Line, and we do play it live, and audiences go crazy. They love the song. But having said that, the rest of the record, it really doesn't sound like Impellitteri. It sounds much more like a band like Rainbow than it does Impellitteri. So, my challenge with Stand in Line was really, I wanted to return to my real sound, what I started with rock. So we basically, we did Stand in Line for a couple of years. We played some very big venues and arenas and stadiums. We were on MTV, which at the time in America was very, very popular. It was the most popular TV show. So we did all of that. I was the guest host on the Headbangers Ball MTV show, and it was great. But it had to come to an end because eventually I wanted Rob back, and Graham would go on and do his own thing. So that was really the story of Stand in Line and the lineup.
Okay, so many interesting stuff that I haven't found on the internet. Great. For me as a fan, it's a pleasure to hear many interesting things about the past of the band, about the history of the band. Fantastic. And when it comes to rap rock, Impellitteri came back in 1992 with rap rock on vocals, with Green and Buried, and later you recorded several albums which were mostly released only in Japan. And we all know what happened to classical metal and lighter hard and heavy music, glam metal or so, in the 90s, but as a collector and your fan, I have some problems with buying your older CDs in Europe. I've managed to get all CDs from Stand in Line plus EP. There was some kind of CD release of it, from Stand in Line to System X, but it was pretty hard to get it, especially in Europe. Fortunately I have a colleague in Japan, so he helped me with that, but it was really hard to find something on eBay or even in Poland. Are there any chances to release those albums, especially that you have European record label now, Frontiers Records?
Yes, we do have to re-release all of those records. The records that have really been of interest to our fans that were really only released in Japan. One of the biggest records and most successful metal records in Japan was a record called Answer to the Master.
Yeah, from 1994.
Yeah, wow, you're good.
I'm a historical maniac. I've done recently an interview with Cauldron because they played in Poland, and one of the guys I don't remember who, but said that I'm an encyclopedia. So
that's great. I love that. So, but Answer to the Master, it was a very, very well-received record, and kids all around the world have that record. So that's a record I think we want to get out worldwide. And it has songs like Warrior, Answer to the Master, Fly Away. These were really successful. In Japan, the record sold like 100,000 records in the first day. It was very popular. So, yeah, I think that record's got to come out. Another one of my favorite ones is another EP that we did called Victim of the System.
The System, yeah.
Yeah, it's very much kind of like, it sounds heavy metal version of Queen. It has a lot of operatic vocals, and I love that record. So, yeah, we definitely have to start getting some of the old back catalog out, especially now that we're going to go on tour and do a worldwide tour.
Oh, that's great. I will ask about that later a little bit. But we are talking about the previous albums, but let's jump to the newest albums. The newest album. You released your newest one, The Nature of the Beast, several days and weeks ago. How did your fans and critics react? Was it the same as the previous ones, as you write on your Facebook, that fans love your music, love the albums, and critics hate it?
Yes. Well, The Nature of the Beast is getting great reviews by the critics, so we're very happy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I just noticed. I mean, we had as far as reviews, I've seen a few. We're getting perfect scores, like 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. We just released 2 music videos. One is called Run for Your Life, which a lot of our fans, and even fans of heavy metal in general, really love, because it's a very nostalgic music video. It's very much a return to...
I have to say that.
Yeah, it's meant to be a little silly, a little humorous. You know, it's meant to look like Iron Maiden in 1983 or Judas Priest. You know, we did that intentionally. So the critics right now, I mean, they're giving us great reviews. The record just went, we're right now, I think we're number 29 best-selling hard rock album in the United States.
Wow, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That's a hard thing to do in the United States.
Wow.
You know, especially here where everybody's Justin Bieber and, you know, Britney Spears.
Well, in Poland we have either, when it comes to metal, we have either extreme heavy metal, like we have Behemoth or Decapitated or so. Or if you're not into heavy metal or any metal stuff, you are in disco polo. It's kind of disco connected with pretty silly lyrics about love, sex, and all of that shit. And that's all.
So it's either extreme or dance.
Yeah, extreme or pretty easy to listen, let's say, music. So classical heavy metal is getting bigger and bigger in Poland, but still it's not as big as it could be.
Well, how do we change that?
Come to Poland and play the show.
Well, I promise you, if the concert promoters invite us, we'll be there. You know, I see you guys have a really cool big festival every year.
Yeah, Woodstock Festival.
Yeah. Who books that?
It's not Woodstock Festival right now because the license expired about a year ago. Now they changed the name to Poland Rock Festival.
Okay.
It's done by Jurek Owsiak. It's the great guy behind the Woodstock Festival and the charity organization, the Wielka Orkiestra Świątecznej Pomocy in Polish. It's a great orchestra of Christmas charity. He collects money every year, about in January or so, and he collects like millions of zlotys, so millions of dollars or so, for children in hospitals, for hospitals at all. And now he collects also money for older people. So
that's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, and he gets lots of criticism, mostly from politics, because Polish politics is pretty much conservative, and they didn't like him. They don't like him because he has this Woodstock Festival, and it's all about drugs, having sex, and crime. Yeah. That's heavy metal and popular music all about.
I see. Well, I'll tell you what. If you guys have a contact for this person or his office, send it to us, because we'll play for free. I mean, it would be awesome to play that.
Of course, I will pass the message. I have some contacts, so, and I'm also into organizing shows, a little bit smaller, but still. So, well, we will see if we can do something with that.
Yeah.
Okay, coming back to your newest album, you covered 2 songs, Black Sabbath Symphony of the Universe and Phantom of the Opera from the musical under the same title. I really like both of those covers, but why those songs at all?
Well, let me start with this. So, we've rarely ever done cover songs. I think on the Stand in Line record, we did a cover of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and we also
Since You've Been Gone.
Correct. So up until that point, we really never touched that again. We decided when we were doing The Nature of the Beast, we wanted to make the record fun for everyone to listen to, right? For heavy metal fans, for guitar fans, for girls that just want to watch, the disco thing you're talking about. We wanted to make this music enjoyable. So, I started playing and writing music with Rob and the band. And before we knew it, we pretty much had the first 10 original songs. And we realized the record was getting long in length. It was about 50 minutes, or we were heading towards like 40 minutes at that time. So we decided, you know what? It's a lot for you, the listener, right? Fans of the band or whatever. It's a lot for you to absorb. So we thought, why don't we do something that's kind of familiar to you guys already, kind of somewhat familiar? So I'll start with this. We first did the Black Sabbath song. Originally, I didn't really feel comfortable doing it. I didn't want to do it, mainly because Tony Iommi's a huge influence on me. I love the way he writes music. He writes great riffs, and he's a great player, right? So Symptom of the Universe has this. It's based on a diminished scale, so it's a very dark, haunting riff. And we used to always play that as a band at rehearsal, sound checks, just having fun with it, right? Joking around. And so on this record, when we were writing music, for some reason I started playing it. And then the band started playing it. And we started coming up with these new parts over it. And we created more of a speed metal kind of version of the song with a lot of technical, like Vivaldi soloing, just crazy stuff. And before we knew it, we decided, let's record it. And even at that point, we weren't certain we were going to release it on the record. It was really for us having fun. So we recorded the song, and it wasn't until I think we did the final mix on the song, we listened back and went, oh, this is really interesting. It's really cool. At least we think it's cool, right? My biggest fear was, oh my God, the fans of Black Sabbath, they're going to hate us, right? They're going to rip us apart. So, but we started playing the song for some industry people, right? Some record people, record company people, and agents, and everybody smiled. They thought it was really cool and really unique. So we said, let's do it. Why not? What do we have to lose? So we basically put it on the record. And, a similar story with Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera is a very, very famous Broadway musical, right? In the United States. And it's something I've heard since I was a little child. Now, another interesting story about Phantom of the Opera. Since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to do a heavy metal version of it, but with crazy guitar soloing and all that. But we almost didn't do this song as well because there's already other bands that have done it. Like one I really love is Nightwish. Tarja, and I think the bass player, I've never met him, but I think his name's Marco.
I'm not really into Nightwish and symphonical metal, so I can't help here.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you. Yes, right, encyclopedia. So they did
I'm still relevant.
I love that. So, Nightwish did a great job on Phantom of the Opera. So I was like, well, why bother? But then I realized there's no guitar solos on the Nightwish version. The music's very basic. They did a great job at it, but it's very basic rock, right? So we decided to go in the studio, and it was the same thing the way we're doing Symptom of the Universe. We were doing this just to have fun. So we start out with this really haunting, theme in the beginning that's, it's basically note for note the theme of the Phantom. And then, of course, I did a lot of this crazy soloing, really, it's like shredding, and it's Vivaldi influence. And then all of a sudden, about less than a minute in, we go into a drastic tempo change. And now we go into a speed metal version, but we're still doing the same vocal melodies, and we're still conforming to the original structure of the composition of the song. So we recorded
Rob is going insane there.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting too, because not only did I think we did something really interesting musically, but Rob, he did something that most human beings can't do. He sang the male voice and the female voice. He did both. Yeah. And it is really hard to do that because at one point you're doing a tenor, then you're doing like soprano and alto in real voice. So it takes a tremendous talent to be able to do that. And when we listened back to the vocal, we were like, oh, this is really cool. And again, we thought, well, the heavy metal fans, are they going to hate us for doing this, But, we mixed it, and by the time we got done, we did the same thing. We played it for some people, and they freaked out and said, oh, my God, we love this. You got to do this. We're like, are you sure? I mean, I'm afraid. I think people are going to hate this, And they're like, no, this is great. So on the record it went, and now you're hearing it. And we just did a music video for it, which is not released yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. So can't wait to see it in this way. And speaking of an album still, what's your favorite track of this album, The Nature of the Beast?
You know, that's a great question too, because I really love this record, and it's rare for me so soon, you know, after finishing a record, that I really have clarity where I can listen to it with fresh ears and go, oh, I like this. I really do love this record. And so it's really hard for me to say, hey, this is my favorite song. As a kid, as like the 15-year-old kid in me, the metalhead, you know, there are songs that I really love. I love Run for Your Life because it brings me back to that time when Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, they were at their peak. They were at their best, you know. It reminds me of one of those songs. As far as a guitar player, you know, I love playing the Phantom of the Opera because the solos are crazy. I mean, it's very, very complicated and complex and challenging. So it's really rewarding when you play it correctly. I love that. Sure. As a metal kid, you know, who's into like more thrash and speed metal, that side of me, I love Gates of Hell. You know, Wonderworld's a little bit more of a, it's almost like a progressive song, but that's another one. So I can go on and on. I mean, I guess I should better question would be, what do you like?
It's really hard to say for me because I've listened to this album several times, but I still don't have one particular favorite song of it. It's still when I start playing it, I'm listening this album from the beginning to the end. Still, I don't know the titles because I have one title, The Nature of the Beast, and that's all.
I get. Yeah, you know, it's funny. People always ask me about the lyrics, and Rob writes all of the lyrics, so I don't know how to answer that. As a matter of fact, half the time I don't even know what the words he's saying are. So you're having a hard time remembering titles. Sometimes I can't remember the words he's saying. I just know how to play the guitar.
I have the same problem with my friends when I wanted to help them with something with the graphics or so. I asked my friend who is a bassist of this band, what are the lyrics? Ask Iga. She wrote that. She knows that. Yeah. And the funny thing is that I was the first one who get those lyrics, not the band members. I was the first who had the lyrics on a screen or on a paper. Okay, coming back to questions. Despite many albums in your discography, you play shows pretty rarely when it comes to your past. What's the main reason of that? I think that many of your fans went mostly for your shows 2 years ago when you played in Barcelona and the other festival in Europe.
Yeah, truthfully, I can tell you the truth. You know, we have fans all over the world that have been begging us to play live. And we love them, and we want to support them and play for them. But the concert promoters, it's a business, and it's a very tight circle. There are a lot of gatekeepers, and it's often that the big promoters, they basically only will work with the bands that are with like the big management companies, you know, like the Metallica management group and, you know, people like that. So it really becomes friend and favors. And a lot of the bands, even like us, where people say, hey, we're way better than a lot of these other bands that you are forced to watch, it doesn't matter because the promoters, they won't talk to us. You know, so we have an office, we have management, and we say, hey, look, we'll play. Just as long as they're good venues, we'll come to every country. We don't care how small or how big, we'll do it. You know, so we did last year was the first time we actually went into Europe and did some bigger festivals. As you said, we did Rockfest in Barcelona. I think Iron Maiden headlined. But I'll tell you, we played that show and there were 35,000 people going crazy. Yeah. And when we did, you know, a lot of times the bands will do signing sessions after the festivals. And, you know, their signing session will last about 20 minutes. We did it. It lasted 2 hours.
Oh, my God.
And it's the same thing in Germany. We played a Germany festival and, you know, like Player and bands like that were there. And, you know, they do their signing sessions where there's a line of people for about 20 minutes and then the line goes away. We were there for 2 hours and the line was still going around the building. Wow. So it tells us that, yeah, we think people want to see us, but it's the business people that block you guys from seeing us, which sucks. We know that.
And it's not only with the, let's say, older bands with big history. For example, there is a band Battle Beast from Finland. They came to Poland for the first time in 2012 as Epica support, as I think, and later they were with Sabaton, they were with Powerwolf, and no headline shows. I asked them why, because of the promoters. 2 years ago, Knockout Productions, an organization from Poland, tried the show, and they were forced to move the show to the bigger venue because there was a sold out. So I think it's mostly because of the promoters. They are pretty skeptic when it comes to bands which aren't that popular in the country because they don't know the statistics or so.
Yeah, and I understand that. You know, business people. Hey, you know, I just realized something. I just want to let you know too. I've got like 14 minutes. Are you okay with that?
Whoa, we'll try.
And if not, you can always call me back in like a half an hour and I can continue because I've got one other interview. I apologize. Is that okay?
Okay, it's not a problem.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So we can continue this. And I'll just, when I have to stop for this other thing, I'll stop. And as soon as I'm done, I'll just send you a message and we can continue. Okay. So going back to this, you know, I have to also be fair to these concert promoters and these business people. Mm-hmm. They're right. I mean, you know, we play certain venues, like in Japan, we get paid very, very well. And we need to raise a certain amount of money because we have a very big production. You know, people want to see us on stage and bombs and fire and, you know, all of that. It unfortunately, it costs money to do that, to give people a good show. So it's hard because the promoters are probably terrified that if they pay us, at least our normal fees, that, you know, they're not certain if we play a venue, will 10,000 people show up or 3 people? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Understandable.
So, yeah, but I will tell you, the frustrating part for us, you have to understand, I mean, we've sold worldwide. We've sold millions of records, and people don't know that. We've been on MTV. Virtually every mega metal band know who we are, or even are fans of us. I could list bands like Bon Jovi, Metallica. The list goes on and on and on, you know, of all these bands that know us, you know. So for us, it does get frustrating, you know, because we see these other bands, and we're not putting them down. I mean, we love them as well, and we're happy they're playing. But they've sold nowhere near the amount of records we've sold. They don't have nearly the influence on or at least on other artists that we seem to have had. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm arrogant. I'm not saying we're better than anybody. It's just that people tell us this all the time. So we do get to that point where we get really frustrated.
I understand that a lot. Mainly because of the Poland, which I'd like to tell it's a black hole when it comes to classical heavy metal or hard rock. For example, the other example from me, the band Axis from Germany. They used to play 3 shows in Poland, and all shows were cancelled. I think because of the frequency of people. And when it comes to Czech Republic, they added 1 show in Ostrava because there was a sold out, and the second one was also a sold out. So, well, it's a business, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course. And you know, you have to like look at markets that way. But you know, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the festivals. What I like, you know, the festivals become an area where everybody goes to enjoy. It's almost like holiday or vacation. But at the same time, you get to play for a lot of people from different countries. They all kind of come together. And that way, it serves its purpose.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you released your newest album under the Frontiers Records banner. You told me about a world tour. Is it connected with Frontiers Records? And maybe are you going to play on Frontiers Rock Festival 2019?
Well, no, it's not connected with Frontiers, and I don't know anything about their festival. You know, right now we're talking with agents in Europe right now to get us to do like a full tour and also do like, you know, the festivals. Japan, we're talking about doing a very big celebration because this technically in 2018 is our 30th year anniversary. So it's really, you know, it's kind of an exciting time. Then of course in the United States, we're talking to agents right now about doing a big tour. So we're going to go out. I hope that we can go out. It may, you know, take 2 or 3 years in support of this record. It's going to hopefully be the most touring we've done, I hope. So that's
I hope too.
Yeah, we all do, you know. I mean, we're really excited to get out and play. And, you know, it's funny. We have always toured and we've always played, but it's always been in specific markets and the same markets over and over again.
Well, Frontiers Rock Festival is a festival of Frontiers records based near in Trezzo, near Milan in Italy. I was there this year and it was fantastic. It's mostly a festival for the bands who are signed to Frontiers, and they release something new. So
how big is the festival? How many people?
It's located in a club. It really depends.
Oh, okay, yeah. We prefer to do like the bigger ones, you know. I mean, for us right now, the festivals that we really want to do, we want to do like Download Festival. We want to do Wacken, open air, you know, stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff we're targeting. You know, the clubs, it's hard because the clubs, you really can't bring in your full production. I mean, it's fun. You know, you get to play, hang out with all your friends and bands and play, but a lot of times it really doesn't allow the audience to see you at your best. You know, I like where we can bring a full production.
I understand that. Back in the 90s, you performed in Japanese show Mutoma World, I think twice, where you played some 2 songs in acoustic versions. The Future is Black and Power of Love. Can we count and can we wait for one acoustic album of your songs from previous electric albums? It would be great to hear the Future is Black or Power in Love in studio version, acoustic version.
You know, I've never thought about that. And you know, it's funny, that was Masa Ito's show. And I'm glad you just said this question because I just realized I got to send him some station IDs later today. You know, believe it or not, when we did that show, they asked to do this a day before. And I didn't have an acoustic guitar in Japan. I had my electric guitars with me. So Rob and I, that night before the show, before we taped that, we went into a hotel room and we just worked on how would we do Power of Love, but do an acoustic version. And so we played it for about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe a little bit more, went to bed, got up early in the morning, went to the studio, and there were all these kids there. I mean, you know, probably 1,000 kids or whatever in a big like mall, like a shopping mall. And we got up on the stage and we started playing, and we had never done that song ever. It was like really no rehearsal, and you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I love those versions. It was really hard to get those recordings several years ago, but when I got them, I said, "Wow, it's awesome."
Well, that's cool. Yeah, there's videos out on it. I mean, you guys in Poland, are you able to see like YouTube? I mean, do you get all the videos?
Yeah, sure.
That's great.
So some YouTube videos are still blocked. We had a problem with one Dio clip from Lockup the Wolves. It was restricted in Poland and in most of European countries, I think. And I think Ronnie James Dio fan page uploaded it on Facebook, and everyone commented that it's not available in my country. Hey, what's happening? And they forced the Vivo, I think, because it was released via Vivo, to unlock it in Europe so everyone can see it.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's interesting. That's good. Well, as long as our music videos are available in Poland, it kind of also gives people the ability to see us. Because, you know, people don't know. When we actually do our music videos, people don't realize we're actually playing. We're actually having fun. We like to play to the music. You know, instead of just faking, lip syncing, whatever. I mean, we're actually singing and playing when we're doing those music videos. So it's kind of fun. You know, in some ways you get to actually see what we're really like live.
Okay, I still have 2 questions, so maybe we can make it right now.
Okay.
I saw many comments on YouTube and on the other side that many fans would love to see an official DVD of some of your show. Apart from a pro-shot video from 1988 from Stand in Line tour, and several clips shot from the audience or from the TV in the 90s and some audience shots from 2016, there's almost no footage of your shows. And do you have anything recorded from your previous shows back in the 90s? Or
you know, there is a bootleg CD that someone had done. Someone had run an Impellitteri fan club, and I think around 1996 or 97, there's a bootleg, but it's not a video. It's just a live recording of us playing. I forget what it was. It was like either arenas or theaters somewhere in Japan, and they call it.
There is a tour bootleg.
Yeah,
I have it.
Oh, cool! And I think they call it Live, Fast and Loud.
I think it don't have the name. It doesn't have the name at all. Live Fast and Loud, I think there was some kind of compilation, I think, or so.
Well, that's actually a live concert, Live Fast and Loud. And that, I love that got released. And we don't get paid for that. It has nothing to do with us. But I love it because it's real. It's not... Most bands that do live albums, even videos, it's sad because they go back in and replace a lot of the parts. Right?
Yeah.
So really, it's not a live record. It's like a live record in a recording studio. You know, even when you see the video, it looks like they're playing... But they're going in and they're playing to how their hands look. But they play it better in the studio sitting in a chair. So with Live Fast and Loud, you can hear Impellitteri live. There's no cheating. It's literally, I think someone's holding up some microphones or whatever in the audience. And it sounded really good. You know, I mean, it sounds like it's, you know, recorded with like some phone or whatever, but the quality is pretty decent. So I love those kind of live records more than, you know, if we were to do a real live record, it just feels like, yeah, we'd be tempted to go in and just do some doctoring, you know. We may at some point do a live DVD. I mean, that probably would be good.
Yeah, because, for example, once again, the Frontiers Rock Festival, many bands this year filmed a professional live video. For example, Quiet Riot did that. I think Praying Mantis, Striper filmed their show, and they are going to release it via Frontier. So maybe we will get some DVD an official DVD from you soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too, because the only thing I have is this 1988 show. It's pro shot, and just like I said, some audience shots from your tour from 1996 and some TV appearances from Japan from 1993 or so, and that's all which exists. So it would be awesome to have a full set filmed professionally and watch it.
Yeah. So, you know,
And,
I mean, but you know, but you know, obviously to do the live DVD, we probably should tour the world. I think that would probably be the first step.
Okay, and the last question. We talked about a little bit previously. So, would you like to play in Poland? And do you know any Polish bands?
I have to be honest. I don't know any Polish bands. I would love to hear what they sound like. As far as touring in Poland, absolutely. I would love to play there. You know, I mean, great country, great people. You know, I mean, Impellitteri would have so much fun playing for you guys.
Well, we will work on it then.
Yeah, and also
we'll try to do so.
Yeah, in all sincerity, look, I mean, it's really up to the promoters. So if you know concert promoters, and they're good promoters, of course, you know, if they're good promoters and, you know, they have decent sized venues, if they invite us, you know, we will come. I mean, it's as simple as that.
You know, we have a quite big venue in Warsaw. It's called Progresja Music Zone. It's one of the most famous Polish clubs, and it's pretty big.
What is it called?
Progresja Music Zone.
Progressive?
Progresja, like progression.
Oh, I see. Music Zone. And cool.
And many famous bands played already there. For example, from the last couple of years. For example, I was there at Wasp, for example. The Dio Disciples played there as the Dio Return Store. So plenty of older and bigger bands from the 80s, from the 90s played already there. So.
And who are the promoters?
It really depends. There are some Polish promoters, for example, Knockout Productions, which are specialized at metal music.
Okay.
Sometimes the club invites the bands themselves. So, and the boss of this club is a pretty nice person, and he is really into heavy metal. So maybe we'll try to do something.
Yeah, well, let us know, man. I mean, we're good. You guys have our contact information.
Yeah, we have our Skype. So,
oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Dude, this is the first time I've actually used Skype. Believe it or not, right now. This is the first time. Yeah, we use emails.
Okay, so maybe we'll get some contact and we'll try something out.
Sure.
So I think that's all from me. So wow,
we did it, man. Success.
We did it.
That is great.
40 minutes of talking. Wow, thank you very much for this interview. I really appreciate it, and I'm really happy that I got some answers to, I think, pretty curious things when it comes to your history and your career at all.
Yeah. Did I miss anything? Do you have everything you need?
I think by now, yes. I was thinking pretty strong about the questions which I would love to ask about as a partially journalist but really amateur one, and on the other side as a fan. And I think by now it's all.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff we've been telling people, to be honest, I mean, a lot of times, we'll get the question of like, tell us about the band. Is it a solo artist?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I've been spending a lot of time doing these interviews, explaining to everybody in the press and the media, finally, just for once and for all, so they really get this clear, is that Impellitteri is a band. It has never been a solo artist. It's all about 4 to 5 guys that contribute equally to this music. So, that's one of the big things I've been doing, which you didn't ask, which is cool. I guess you already knew this.
Well, yes, I was making jokes with Coldron during the interview about those kind of press interviews. And we were making jokes of it because, well, you are making an interview with somebody for some reason, for the fans, actually, and you don't know anything. You didn't do any research or so. What the hell? It's not fair to the fans.
No, I understand. Yeah. I mean, we have kids around the world that ask us, we get a lot of the same questions, and I understand why. But, the biggest one always is, the misnomer. I think because I always get compared to all these Guitar Hero guys, they always think we're some sort of solo artist. And I always have to explain to them, no, it's a band like Van Halen is a band. It's not a solo artist,
Yeah.
So, cool. All right, well, listen, man, I had a lot of fun, and you definitely, you were really fun to talk to.
Yeah, sure. It was a big fun for me and big pleasure for me to talk with you. One of it were answers from my master, let's say.
Well, that's really awesome, man.
Yeah. So thank you once again, very very much, and I'm not stopping you from your work and from your duties.
Okay, well, we got lucky, and thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. It's really, we truly mean that.
So thank you very much. Have a nice day. For now, in Poland, it's 7 p.m., so I'm working on my study duties right now.
Okay, right. It's 10 a.m. here, so yeah.
9 hours of difference.
That's great. When you say your study duties, does that mean are you in school? What does that mean?
I'm of the 3rd grade of studies, engineering studies. I'm the really young guy.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's funny. Most people don't know this, but I have a master's degree.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually, went to college and then more college, got master's degree in business. So I was always fascinated by school. So good for you, man.
Thank you. I'm really into learning, getting a degree. I'm also really, I love music and music connected things. I'm also in a drama group. So I'm everywhere also. I'm also a YouTuber. I'm into video games, so...
Me too, dude. I love you already, man. You're great.
Yeah, and I will do some kind of self-promoting here, but I also have a, let's say, music show. I don't know how I can call it. It's called Rock&Roll Nation on YouTube. It's for Polish people. It's in Polish, and every episode I present 5 songs which I recently listened to, for example, and I think in the 2nd or the 3rd episode I recommended Eyes of an Angel because I love this song from Wicked Maiden.
Oh, that's great, man. That's so cool.
And it's not that popular, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it is either. To be honest, I can't remember how it goes. I mean, we play Wicked Maiden, obviously, Garden of Eden, stuff like that. But yeah, that's funny.
I love the keyboards, the piano there. It's and the chorus. It's awesome.
Nice.
Okay. So we are extending the time and extending the time. Stop right now.
All right, perfect, man. Well, thanks again. I greatly appreciate all your support.
Thank you very much, and you're welcome.
Okay.
And I thank you.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you soon in the future.
Sure.
Okay.
See you
Okay.
again.
Bye-
Thank you very
bye-bye.
much. Goodbye.